Radiant's pick.
Draft any hero under your mind control. Why would anyone pick Lion? This is simply old, fat piece of garbage that went to hell one time and that's it. You could literally draft Satan, Lucifer himself, king of
10
hell,
seconds to
or
go.
you could just draft a guy that went there and it's like a guy who went to
5
Arkansas
seconds.
and flew back home. Like, what is the point? Look, that is a literal wyvern, a fundamental dragon of the universe versus a dude. Man boo. I don't understand.
They're so visible. It's, you know, you say it, it's hard to ignore them. They're just right there.
They're right. They're
Right in the
always
front.
there.
I mean, now that you mention it, I'm looking at that.
I can, whenever I see Lion, I can look at nothing but his nipple.
Dyer's pick.
It's
Man,
horrifying.
He's just pounded down a lot of Chipotle.
It's been a rough few years. Shadow Shaman comes out. Wow, this is a hero that used to be good. He got, you know, a little touch in the last update, and we haven't seen much of him.
A little.
Yeah, but like
10 seconds to go.
Touch. What happened there? Why isn't he picked up?
5 seconds.
Feels a bit clunky. But pick Shaman. That's pretty added. Now we know it's a core lash rack now. You
Yeah.
don't have to suffer through and
Oh, you know what? This Lesh plus Shadow Shaman lane, beastly lane.
Oh,
Get it?
sure.
You have such easy setup for the Leshrac, and the amount of damage guys chunk out together, there's borderline nothing.
Well,
You have to kill them. You need a kill lane.
Yeah, if you get kills like around the 5 minutes.
but I feel like that lane also suffers against that. Their blast cannon.
I think so, yeah. Gyrocopter Chaos Knight sort of hero. Something that's a here I'm going to murder the offlaner carry. Yeah, I 100. Lesh offlane in
Radiant's
general.
pick.
Really, and then the Shadow Shaman, same.
Very unique drafts coming in. I can't remember the last time we saw. Rubik has fallen off the face of the planet. I feel like I cannot remember the last time I saw.
You know what? I'm gonna say
10 seconds to go.
Why the hero is bad? I've asked every single analyst backstage.
5
I'm not a
seconds.
Player, so I'm not 100% sure. I just know there are no root pubs. Everybody just says it feels bad, and it's hard to say why.
Didn't
Ages ago,
but
and it was still good after that.
Just little things like that.
Dyer's pick.
Wraith
But
King!
the thing is, he was OP when all of these changes happened, right? When the cast range got added, everybody was saying it was OP. One of those heroes where it's almost like the meta has developed around him, and then he's not a bad hero, but within the meta, he's terrible.
Yeah, well, I think the meta used to be
10 seconds to go.
team vitals.
Yeah.
5
He has in this
seconds.
game.
Well, okay,
Hurts.
it's worth noting he was bad, right? At the start of the tournament, the meta has completely shifted. So this is why Nigma's big. I don't think it's fair to come in with that this hero is bad because he was bad in the
Oh,
late.
good. Dyer's ban.
Crazy holy locket build, all going for overwhelming team fight. I think there's good stuff to steal here.
See, they did run a lot of high sustain. Long.
He's not good at laning against that either, because you
10 seconds to go.
harass you. He doesn't.
5 seconds.
Powers you take. I don't really think
Radiant's ban.
that, and all they have is
Well, I think the Lesh stun is good. I think
That's
the,
fair. It's
I think
good,
the
but-
Shadow Shaman spells are good as well. But if you can, even
you
the nuke,
think
you
it's
double
good
the weight.
enough?
I think so. I mean,
If you think it's solicited?
once again, I don't want to come in with
Dyer's ban.
of like Rubik was bad in which I agree with, but I think Nigma picking it, dumpstering with it, and like I think it's just a hero that will always come back into the meta at some point. This might be when playoffs of the fair.
That's. Yeah,
10 seconds to go.
I've had any.
5 seconds.
The like they're just... The Wraith King pick.
Radiant's ban.
I guess it synergizes well with the Wyvern. Be activated rather early.
Some of them pushing skeletons are
10 seconds to go.
protecting the lush track so we can power.
5 seconds.
Definitely, it's one of those things, like it's Wraith King, oh, you die back, you want it against fate.
Dyer's pick.
Legitimately a pushing here.
However,
Radiant's pick.
that's completely destroyed. It's not even close. Pleasant.
I don't ever say monster.
I hate this hero. Skeleton specific.
Yes,
Go back to
we've
that.
been through skeleton.
10 seconds to go.
Underlord picked up, huh?
5
Oh,
seconds.
this makes... Look at their heroes. They aren't the best at...
Take your pick.
Born
That
of
lockdown
madness.
coming. Everybody done except... Well, Lions wrapping it up with the famous Magnus thing.
It's a really... we said that last game, and very well against the Wraith. A lot of commit. Alliance, and Underlord is flying it. But I do think the Alliance draft is a lot easier to play.
I don't like it. Your last pick, Magnus versus... Pops off. Well, if you can... Second reason, that Wraith Kick, not the best. Attack speeds... So if you get a 5-man ARP, you don't typically... There's a little bit of...
Oh, well, it looks like we did away, but time has finally come to find out if we will be going to a game 3 or if this Lions pass it on over.
Thank you, Sir Action Slack. Suns fan with Cinder in here. We have Alliance versus a Team of Spirit with the best voice lines. If we could redo our little tier list, they would be S tier. It's gone from the bottom to the top. The meme potential is out of control.
We have some meta development. We need some practice, just like in this tournament. We went through the group stages of rating voice lines, and we're starting to really figure out who goes to the playoffs. In this series, I'm really curious to see the game play out because, interestingly enough, Team Spirit ended up playing the Underlord into Alliance that they had last game, but I feel like the conditions are really different this time. So the storyline is going to be another one. What Spirit seems to always manage to do in these drafts, also in the groups when we saw, they will be hungry to fight. They will pick lineups that have ways of starting stuff. And in this case, last game we had the Windranger from Toronto, Tokyo. This game he's going to be playing Puck. Then they also have the Lion. So compare this way of building Underlord strategy to what Alliance had last game, where he was kind of the catch, right? Their support duo was Leshrac Grimstroke, and their carry was a Void. This time around, having this Puck or having this Rubik or Lion, these ways of starting fights, sets up Underlord for way more success, in my opinion. Alliance have gone for something different too. I'm happy to see them pick Wraith King for Nico Baby. Obviously got swiftly countered by a Terrorblade, but just in essence having the hero of this kind instead of Slark or Void, I think is a step in the right direction for Alliance. Hopefully for them it's not too late that they've realized what way they need to go, because you know, some of the issues that they've had are kind of solved with this. I think Wyvern is a great pick in this patch. I think Magnus is great. Wraith King is great. Shadow Shaman is kind of a wild card for me, along with the Lesh, but they've put Lesh on core, which I think is better on average than support. So the way they've assigned their heroes, the way they've built their lineup here, I like it more than last game, and let's hope that they get to show some form.
The game is
Whether
on.
they win or lose, like we talked about with Aster, it always sucks to see a team just bomb out if they, you know,
Yeah,
don't really show what they're
absolutely.
capable of. They look like they will have a good start here.
Mira's going to get slowed to start things out. It's going to take a lot of damage, but in the meantime, Hanskin's going to be taken out. Who actually got first blood there? Looks like FNG. Yeah, that was a split-second decision right there.
He actually misclicked one attack to hit another hero, so that's why it got so close. I was sure that he was going to die faster after that other shock, but Wyvern had to hit twice because he hit the wrong hero, but gets it done in the end. Same outcome. Good amount of gold going the way of that Wyvern. We'll be playing the bottom lane together with Wraith King into Rubik Underlord. That is a really hard lane. I would not like to play Wyvern here very much, just because your hero is pretty good against Underlord from the damage coming out from Arctic Burn, but you are going to be in your tower a lot here. Fade Bolt plus Firestorm is always going to shove that in, and if they make sure you don't pull, which it looks like Team Spirit have done a good job here pre-placing that sentry. This camp is blocked, but their big camp is open, and this looks like, honestly, I feel like that's a blunder from the Wyvern not having body block big here. Minute 1. This is a camp that Rubik and Underlord will very easily take advantage of. They're going to shove in the lane with Firestorm, Fate Bolt, and if Wyvern tries to come and stop this pull, you're basically susceptible to just taking a lot of harassment from these other two heroes.
Right.
Well, they're not going to use it just yet.
Yeah, Wraith Fire Blast on the Mira, but I mean, how's Nico Baby gonna survive in this lane? Underlord, once he gets the level of Firestorm, obviously against pretty much any melee hero, gonna have some trouble. You expect him. Will it be bad enough for him to have to go jungle, in other words?
I think he will want to, regardless, on like level 5, maybe level 4 even, if times are tough. Just again, because last game we also had the Underlord against Wraith King, but the support matchup really makes a big difference. All right, Hunt's going to take some damage.
I respect to start things out with the Reflection Yatoro.
A lot of damage.
I mean, that is Metamorphosis. It's essentially Terrorblade's ultimate for all intents and purposes. And at one point in time, actually at 2 points in time, it was, in fact, his ultimate Synderen.
That's many years ago, though.
Yes.
That meta was the ult. But I agree, it kind of feels like it should be an ult.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo not even able to get that rune. Was going to risk his health there.
Imagine if Sunder was a normal spell, though, not an ult.
That's true. Sunder was not a spell at that time, if memory serves. It used to be like this
life drain.
It was like a Pugna life drain, but you didn't have to channel it.
Yeah, you could walk with it on.
Yeah.
First there was the channeling version, then there was the one that you could walk with on. This hero has actually been through a lot of iterations over the last many years, but... Okay,
top lane, Hanskin, Fairy Fire is popped. Looks like he might survive from Miposhka. Gets one more right click, but it's not going to be enough. Yatoro looks like he will survive through this engagement as well. What is it that makes Terrorblade good against Wraith King, for those that don't know?
This. So, basically what Wraith King does in fights is that he will usually, he'll be durable, but first of all, he's melee, so he needs to come in close, and Terrorblade has a lot of armor, and Wraith King, all of Wraith King's damage output bar, a slight little bit from his stun, is physical. So, just naturally, Terrorblade will have a lot of armor. Then when he casts Reflection on Wraith King, he makes a Radiance illusion if he has Radiance. So that is a problem that you have to solve. There's the whole aura aspect, which used to be better, obviously, where you get the lifesteal aura. Now it works differently, but he's also just a hero that has overwhelming damage against Wraith King. Yeah, you have 2 lives, but you come back to life, the Terrorblade has just way more damage than you, way more armor, and will make an illusion of you to slow you down and just hit you and kill you. So usually the carries that thrive against Terrorblade is not the Wraith King type, but rather something along the lines of, let's say anything that has Mana Burn is good against Terrorblade. Something that has a lot of Spell Burst can be good against Terrorblade at least, which is not really most carries. You usually solve him with more utility-like supports or mids. One hero that comes to mind as a carry would be something like a Morphling. A lot of magic damage, single target can kill Terrorblade.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Morphling this tournament, of course. Kind of a hit or a miss to some degree, but we see Toronto Tokyo. That's a lot of water runes going off at the same time, looks like. But looking at that mid lane matchup, Toronto Tokyo on that puck, 18-1 versus Limp's Leshrac 23-7. So good to see, like you talked about, Lesh being on this core role. I feel like, support isn't that, it's not super uncommon, but the core Lesh just feels very powerful, and it feels like it has a really good game a lot of the time. Even if you're able to pick him off, he can still flash farm the jungle. He can go get tier 1s by himself, especially in the trees if you're on the dire side. So he's had a lot of successes.
And I think most importantly about support Lesh, I think he's dependent, right? It's not a very independent support. He needs people to put him up. Hanskin's taking a lot of damage here.
That is not what you want to see if you're on the Alliance side here. Taro does get relatively low, but again, the right clicks from this meta are just way too strong right now. Was he fine? I'm not sure if he was even fine. Though.
He might have died anyway, but like if you're looking to save there, you have to skewer away, right? You're not getting. That's another thing about Terrorblade. You're not really killing him in tower very easily. He has a lot of armor, so the tower doesn't hurt that bad. So that was a little bit weird. I mean, maybe my watt was a little bit too much of an.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of an overreaction. It's not like it was absolutely terrible, but surprising that they tried for this. I feel like that was not the way to go about this.
And now we're starting to see the Firestorm spam from Collapse. And this is going to be very annoying for Alliance to be able to see when Nico Baby wants to actually go start jungling. But, I mean, he's 26 and 2 CS, so not the greatest, but this is a hero that can definitely catch up. It looks like he's not going to be going for any greedy route, though. He's going straight for Armlet. Yeah. Is this exactly what you want to see? I mean, the panel was talking about how they want Alliance to play a little bit faster pace. I mean, last game, Spirit, he ended up going Midas into Radiance, and it worked out just fine. It's a little slower, but...
Don't go Radiance here. Into Terrorblade. I would not advise that. So I think Armlet Deso might be the path. But I think what they need to realize is that Wraith King probably should not be trying to kill Terrorblade in fights. If possible, the targets that this guy wants to get on top of are the Rubik and the Lion. Alliance have a little bit of repositioning tools with the skewer, so if you can skewer any of the squishies into Wraith King, that's an instant kill, and you can kind of go from there. Maybe with Empower, there is a chance that he can fight TB, but I just don't really see it.
Right. Nope. First foil of the game. On the Wyvern here, so FNG does fall.
Too far.
And Toronto Tokyo, I mean, he's doing... Actually, now that I look at the net worth, not so hot. I thought he was actually relatively even, but
Limp has beaten him handily in lane both games. Limp is an exceptional laner. I think it's his biggest strength as a player still is his first 10 minutes. His laning is just exceptional, and that is a really great quality to have. If the team builds around this and makes sure that you set him up for success afterwards and kind of make him an integral part of the lineup, I like to see that a lot on a hero like Leshrac, more so than Viper, because I feel like you just have that, you can have that super game more
on Nico Baby. This is going to be the first life that is a really long cooldown. Yeah, Collapse knows he's going to die, trying to save his Rubik in the meantime, but it ain't happening. A nice rotation from Limp, and Alliance off to a pretty solid start overall.
That was a great rotation. Yeah, he's very far ahead of Puck now. 1,000 net worth, as a matter of fact.
Oh my, this meta. Good lord. Tara's getting such value out of meta this game. Feels like every time he gets at least one kill. And we'll save their tier 1 tower as a result. And, I mean, the build on Terrorblade, it's not super exciting. It's generally very similar to what we're seeing here. It's going to be Manta into... well, you could go several routes here, right? Dragonlance is what he has queued up now, but I've seen Scotty relatively early without... I mean, it depends on how well you're doing, really. And obviously, Butterfly, depending on how the game is going. But FNG, yep, Earth Spike is there. Mira with the Hex, and Toronto Tokyo. Waning Rift does finish him off, so... Team Spirit, I mean, the one thing I will say about Team Spirit, even though they're not really down that much right now, is they have a lot of resiliency based on the group stage that we cast. For sure. So... It would be fitting for them to go down one, or to tie this 1-1, for them to lose this game, because every series felt like a draw with them.
The thing that this team, I think, does very well is that it identifies what its next move is with the highest success rate. And that doesn't mean they necessarily, you know,
Koi is up again, and this, remember, this ultimate for Wraith King is way far away, and this is going to be an easy kill. Cold Embrace will
think I'm already a raid.
Save him for the time being, but ends up going down anyway. Now Collapse doesn't have his ultimate, so this will be a trade of sorts, but you'll take this any day of the week with your Team Spirit, as long as everybody gets out.
I think you forced 2 or 3 TPs there, right? So it's a big overall macro win. You trade position 1 for 3, which is relatively even. They have about the same net worth and the same levels.
The Dire might want to mine
is worth a lot here. Miposhka getting level 6 mid while this is happening. He's looking for a setup up top.
The Steward does go off, but the Earth Spike connected.
Not gonna happen.
It's funny. Max, but yeah, S4 able to get out that time.
Can't do nothing about Dire structures right now.
On the average side, it's about the same as his Wraith King, which that's not good news at the very least for Alliance. But of course, he can just make that up in the jungle eventually. He does have his armlet. So what Brown Boots armlet, not even bothering with the phase boots yet. So, I mean, I think not too bad a timing.
I think it's a good choice because he can't really pressure his lane, right? Usually when Wraith King wants to go treads or face boots, it's because there's the potential of winning somewhere. In this game, you just have to accept that you are unfavored. I believe this is actually, interestingly enough, something Nico Baby talks about in his course that he did for Gamers Class, where...
Is it sponsored?
No, it actually isn't, but I found it interesting. Like, he's talking about how you need to identify in the game, you know, whether you're in a position in the lane where you can put pressure or not. And then you need to always think about, okay, what is my highest impact move in the game? And some games, you're going to be facing a lane that you can't beat.
Yeah.
This is one of those games. So why would he itemize offensively if they can never try to kill, right? So he's taking the defensive route, which is the armlet. It gives him the most survivability. It's a good farming item for the jungle. And now he's going to go phase boost. You can see him having it queued up at this point. So...
Great. Thanks, Gamer Class. Really appreciate that. Toronto, we have a
Radiant's bottom
smoke
tower
here
ain't a
onto
pretty
Team
sight right
Spirit.
now.
They really should be paying me for that, though.
Yeah, that's true. Nico
Dire's
Baby's
top
ult
tower's
is back
getting beat
up,
down.
as we talked about. I mean, it's not as long of a cooldown
Radiant's
as it used to be,
bottom
but
tower's
still
seen better
very long. It
days.
actually cost him that second death there.
Illusion.
Toronto Toki not
Dire's
really
top
wanting to go
tower,
on that, but
you know,
it
Radiant
would be a
lost one of
pretty
them
difficult
bottom
kill. As well. It
towers.
feels like they're just wasting a bit of time here. Toronto Tokyo, obviously down in farm and levels as well. I mean, he's a full level behind Limp right now. Is Limp now making his transition with the hand skin smoke into the enemy jungle?
Yep, this is a good aggressive move. You have level 4 Edict. You want to get a tower on the
Dire
map right
might
now.
want to mine
Ideally, you
the
actually
top
wanted it 2
tower.
minutes ago. He's going to run into Mira. And it's done
Dead
perfectly.
Rubik, very dead. Will steal the lightning storm, very useful.
Dire's got one last top tower.
And the top tower is being injured at the same time. But, of course, Team Spirit will put their own pressure, as is the...
Ooh, Nor's curse. All right, Collapse is here to try to save his teammates from a poster. Looks like he might be able to pick up. Now, oh, the RP comes out and doesn't hit anything. A nice phase shift. And Toronto Tokyo gets out with his life. So it's a 1-for-1, technically speaking, in the mid lane. Now we have the Shackle. S4 obviously wants to get off the skewer, but he's stuck inside the pit. Has to get himself out of there. In the meanwhile, Limp trying to do as much damage as he can. It's going to proc again. Looks like the aggression will stop there.
Yeah, they're not going to get much out of that one.
S4 almost has his Blink Dagger, so that, well, no RP obviously for a bit.
Yeah.
Can obviously set up the Blink skewers that we kind of talked about the previous series.
And it feels like a necessity, right? You have this support duo on Alliance. Hanskin, again, is very poor, similar to last game where he was playing Leshrac, this time on Shadow Shaman. Being bottom net worth on this hero sucks. He really needs to find a way to get some items because the hero is largely built around channeling the Shackle. And if you don't have items, it's very hard to maintain that. Like, look what heroes he's up against.
Right.
He can die in the blink of an eye to a Terrorblade, a Puck, a Lion. Even the Rubik can steal his Shackles, which can also be really good. Which is just a better version of Shackles when he has the lens. Oh, this will be a big kill.
Discord is there, telekinesis.
No coil.
Yeah, the Yules to save him for now. Limp finally gets coiled. How much damage did that get? When Force got here, finger of death. Not quite enough to take him out. Cold Embrace gonna save him for now. And there's the curse to follow. Limp looks like he might live through this. In fact, S4 is here to save the day. They're gonna be able to get the Puck and the Rubik in turn. So a nice turnaround here. The post number was stolen by Mira. Not able to actually find a kill for himself though. So Alliance, a big turnaround. And I mean, that would have been a huge kill for Team Spirit.
That was all FNG right there. That was really, really important. Getting that curse, getting the save first with Cold Embrace, and then finds the basically max range curse on the Puck and Rubik next to each other, and then S4 for the cleanup. So nicely done by Alliance in this instance. They're in a better position this time around than last game. Although, I mean, I feel like the gold is kind of similar, and this is where my concern that I had for them in the PSG LGD series is kind of starting to kick in, right? Alliance had one of the games there as well. They did very well in lanes in game 1. They built like a 4 or 5k lead, actually, against PSG LGD. But can their lineup win the game? Like, are they going to be able to build a big enough advantage that these heroes have the late game solution for a Terrorblade lineup? They do have the Leshrac who can bridge that gap for a while, but late on in the game when Terrorblade has a lot of health, I don't think Leshrac is a counter whatsoever. I think you just melt. You can't stand your ground. There's too much damage. And this Terrorblade is going to have some Underlord protection and auras. So I think it's very important for Alliance to build a lead.
Dire's mid tower could use a
Not
little
always a
help.
lead
That's the thing,
necessarily.
right? I'm not even, like, let's say they were 2k gold behind. I don't know if that's enough for me to favor their position in the game unless they have a clear map control advantage, but they don't have that currently.
Right.
Towers are even. You have a Terrorblade top of the net worth chart, which is always terrifying. in any game that this hero doesn't have like clear counters to it in the enemy team, like say something like a Zeus or whatever, like Pugna, that really deals with him for
Radiant's
a while.
mid tower could use a
That
hand.
just isn't there. So Alliance really need to. It feels like a game where you need to outplay already.
So Tokyo gets the orb out. We'll get the coil off FNG again. This looks to be, in all likelihood, a freebie for Team Spirit. Did
Somebody's
coil,
on a roll.
able to fall, and yeah, that is enough damage. Now, Pochka actually finds S4. I'm not sure if they have enough lockdown, though. Collapse is, yeah, he's going to fall back for now. S4 with that Blink Dagger available, and there's no surprise factor with that at this point in time. I mean, main reason for that is because RP was down when he originally got it, so it's not like he can stay out of lane for
A tie
2
to the
minutes or whatever that cooldown is. S4 still in the jungle. Okay, gets
good
off the
dagger.
blinking time. Fast fingers.
Yep.
I mean, this man is great at Dota and apparently FPS games as well. I've seen it firsthand. I didn't believe it, but then when I saw it, Cinder, it made me a
S4 is
believer.
a
Truly.
very good CS player.
Yes.
I think that is why usually when we watch him in lane on Dota broadcast, people write CS LOL.
Radiant's
It's
mid
referring
tower's
to
getting
his
banged up.
exceptionally good Counter-Strike
No
play.
breaking through the
That's
dire
true.
structures for now.
That's a little known fact, of course. A little trivia there for those out there that have never seen that before. But yeah, what do you think of the Roche game this time around? You have, obviously, on Alliance's side, you have RP, Winter's Curse. You got some crazy counter initiation, at least, for that. And then for Team Spirit,
Dire's mid
you
tower
have Coil,
won't
you have
last much
Firestorm,
longer.
obviously.
The Dire couldn't
and
hang
TV.
on to that mid
Once he gets
tower.
some items, can take out Roche himself, essentially. But neither of them are really going to do it super fast yet.
No,
Maybe with Serpent Wards.
and again, it doesn't. I think if you're Team Spirit, you're happy that Roche just exists in the game. You don't care as long as he isn't being taken by the enemy team. You don't need it. You need time, and you are. It's not like it's the same game as the LGD game 1 from yesterday, but it's honestly pretty similar in how it's progressing.
Well, Hanskin is actually getting quite aggressive. So yeah, Dark Rift
Radiant's
out.
bottom tower
Ready
in
to
a
go.
pretty
See you
sight
later.
right now.
Just see if he pulled. He did not cancel it. That was
Didn't
good.
pull an X4. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower
okay.
seen better
I
days.
apologize.
It was pretty rude of you to even think or say that.
That's. I mean, everybody saw the last game. I mean, again, I don't think that actually would have ultimately made a difference in terms of the win or the loss.
Probably
but
not.
yeah, Terrorblade is starting to run away with the farm in terms of the carry versus carry, but if you compare the
Radiant's
mids, Lesh
mid
versus
tower's
Puck,
coming apart.
that is definitely going Limp's way right now.
And that's important because that is a matchup that I think for the success in this game, Leshrac needs to be rich.
We have okay,
getting
Coil
lifted.
is available. He gets lifted back into the Pit of Malice. Pretty annoying to deal with, but not a lot of damage done to the tower. Still at half health right now. So we'll see how Alliance wants to react to this. As Nico Baby, as we see now, has that Desolator and is actually going for Blink. So they're going to be playing quite aggressively. They're going to have a triple Blink, in fact, with the Rasta as well.
Trouble
So,
brewing
Hale's
at
getting pretty
Radiant's
farmed.
bottom tower.
It's funny because he's not actually that farmed.
No.
Compared to, it's just in Dota, everyone's more farmed than
Radiant's
used to
bottom tower in a pretty sight right now.
Comparison.
I really don't envy Hanskin playing Shadow Shaman in this game. I feel like it's just...
This could be a pretty fast Roche.
Yep.
Yeah, Team Spirit are all bottom lane pretty much, so all right. Go the way of Alliance.
Great Aegis hero in their
Radiant's
team.
bottom
and Leshrac.
tower seen better days.
Absolutely going to go to him.
Radiant's gone.
And this is a big
Fortify
thing
their
for Alliance to
structures.
open up. So, like we said a moment ago, Spirit are happy if this boy doesn't
Radiant's
get killed.
mid
but
tower's getting
Dota
banged
is
up.
in the enemy team's hands. Maybe Alliance can open up the top tier
Radiant
two
to the
and start
shall
taking
bang
control a
and
little
let
bit
him
more of the
have it.
map. And with their daggers that they've
Radiant's
completed, they
mid-tower's
become a bit
coming
more of a
apart.
threat to catch around the map. The reason I don't envy playing Shaman this game is that there are so many interrupts, right? And so many things you need to deal with.
Trouble
Even if you get a
brewing at
really good
Radiant's
catch, you
bottom
can get
tower.
countered by Puck, Rubik, Lion. So you maybe need another item, like Lens, so you have more safety in the range, or BKB, so you can stand your ground against everyone else's
Dire's
terror.
Why do you think they
Towers having
prioritize the Rasta so
technical
much this game?
I don't know.
Serpent Ward's
It was
obviously, I mean,
very
used for
surprising.
Roche there, great for high ground,
Yeah.
just pushing towers and whatnot. Obviously, it's the highest base damage of any support in the game, just for the laning stage. But you see the Winter's Curse.
That does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that.
Well, it
just-
stops them.
They're going to create separation. Yeah,
They
I
just
guess
wanted to
that's good
disengage.
enough.
Fair enough. If that's what they wanted to do, that's all good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe the reason they picked Shaman is that they're trying to overcompensate for a problem they had last game where they felt like they weren't making enough plays. So we pick a hero that can pressure towers by just inherently by its spell kit. Shaman just does not feel... has not impressed me very much in this patch. It's a very unusual pick. I think this is the first time I see it in this tournament even. Maybe second, actually.
I mean, it does
might
have
have been
that,
picked by IG.
It does have
in
the blink
Wild
hex type of deal with against Puck, right? That's
right.
Like at the last major, it was Lion basically playing that role.
Yeah.
He just is more useful or more consistent in being useful.
And he was picked by the enemy team, so he didn't have that luxury.
Exactly. So it's a poor man's Lion. As we see the Shackle with FNG in the trees, but
not even taking
yeah, Hanskin's just gonna whip himself out of there, and Collapse is gonna Dark Rift himself out of there. So. Okay, I mean, we're seeing like not that many fights in the last few minutes. Obviously, the Roshan was pretty much a freebie for Alliance, and I mean, if you're Team Spirit, you find like, are you going to try to defend these towers once this push inevitably comes with his Aegis, or do you have to give up something?
I think you can defend. Underlord Puck is a good defensive line as long as Underlord is the one standing in front.
Oh my God, it's a two-shot. That is a two-shot line right there. Tell you what.
If you're new to Dota and you're wondering how to attack him without even swinging his sword, that is Quicksilver Amulet, a neutral item that makes your attack animation faster, so it looks really weird on almost every hero in the game.
That's right. Intended though, as we have a tier 2 tower being taken out. Serpent wards were expended.
Dire's mid tower.
Baby probably just gonna go back to the jungle for now to regain that HP, although the Cold Embrace will be there for him to start things out. So
this is starting to look better and better for Alliance here with this mid tower down. Should be looking at top tower for the next objective, and obviously
Trouble
Toronto Tokyo on his
bottom tower.
In other series this tournament, he is very good at split pushing on this hero. So his job in this game right now, in my opinion, primarily is to think ahead, predict what Alliance's next move is going to be, and make sure that wave is shoved as far as possible before they even get there. And you see him, he pushed top lane all the way out to the tier 1. He already started heading bottom and has that pushed into tier 2.
Yeah, it's going for A on disc as well. So was it the tiebreaker against Liquid where he was doing this and they were behind? And I mean, typically when you see somebody pushing, you know, like you're talking about split pushing in this meta, they get picked off at some point, and then it kind of just turns, you know, into a snowball for the other team. But like you said, he was exceptional at doing that, and he's trying to do the same here. I mean, they're not really down by that much.
The Shaman Dagger can definitely be the key component for Alliance in solving that, though. I think in that game against Liquid's catch was kind of lackluster. I think they had Invoker as their primary
shot. One and... Oh, that doesn't count. That's 2 and a split Earth. So Lion might be a little tankier than he was about 30 seconds ago.
Did he get another fluffy hat or what?
Maybe, I don't know.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight
just
right
wasn't
now.
that hard, I guess.
Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom tower?
Oh, he's going to get the Diabolic Edict. He knows that somebody is in this vicinity, and there's going to show some vision.
Radiant's bottom tower seen better days. That's 4 in a
The
row.
Pulse Nova and the Illusion Rune. So another kill being netted for Alliance. You see the shard actually on Wyvern. Oh, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Instant X after the coil comes out. Yatoro pops that Metamorphosis is just going to blow off for Hanskin. In the meantime, Nico Baby has his second life with that Aegis still until there's from S4, and they're going to destroy Mr. Yatoro. And with that, this is going to start snowballing Alliance. If they continue this will be their first victory of the tournament, which is shocking to say, but they're looking a lot better this game, no doubt.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, Shockwave, Skewer. Poor Wraith King won't even get a right click off here, I don't think. Oh, maybe. All right.
That attack animation is so bizarre.
Top tower's in bad shape.
Before he even lifted the sword.
It's still satisfying. When feels like you're breaking the game animations, it feels good. So I don't think he's going to be too upset about the animation in this game soon.
I think he is just happy to be ahead.
Yes, no doubt.
Currently, because that has not been a position Alliance have found themselves in very much at this stage of the game. But they're looking good in this one.
Yeah.
They're building a very big lead off of that Roshan that they claimed. This bottom tier 2 tower will not be taken for now, but still forcing Team Spirits' hand. And finding that kill on Terrorblade was just massive. He was starting to become scary, and they knock him down a lot with that pick. A bit surprising to see the two cores, Yatoro and Toronto Tokyo, connect on that Shaman play and then have no supports around. There was nobody there to interrupt the Magnus. There was nobody there to stop the Wraith King from hitting in the RP. They were just all around the map.
Are you surprised to see FNG get the shard this early on Wyvern?
No.
You're not surprised?
This is GH's build for this tournament. Max Cold Embrace,
Yeah.
Shard and the healing talent. This gives
Okay.
you a very low cooldown Cold Embrace, which is amazing against Terrorblade.
Radiant's
10
mid
second
tower
cooldown,
could
4
use
second
hands
duration,
with
so a
impurities.
total downtime of 6.
Guess what's happening to Dire's
pretty
bottom
cool.
tower?
Yeah, with the
Radiant's
counter,
mid
it's very
tower.
It's so
Dire
big it
gave
heals
up a
the hero
bottom
on top
tower.
like 60% of the health or something when you have Locket. It is crazy. You'll see it in play later and you'll be mind blown how much this heals. I promise you.
I will be mind blown.
Yes.
Radiant's
I'll keep that
top
in mind.
tower
You'll
is
see
taking
it, and you will
hits.
be like, wow.
That sounds like me. That sounds more like you, actually.
That is me being very excited
Radiant's
right there.
top tower is in bad
Now,
shape.
I think Alliance probably tries to wait for the next Roche.
Radiant's
And
toughened up
meanwhile,
their
obviously has to
structures.
defend this top tower and just...
Radiant's
they
top
have
tower is
more
hurting.
map control than Team Spirit, which is the name of the game here. Is actually Toronto Tokyo going for a Dagon. Okay.
Radiant's
This game
top
is now
tower is taking
saying
hits.
RPS4. Yep, that's
Six in a
skewered
row.
back into the
Dire's
hands of
bottom
Nico,
tower is
baby.
getting the
And
business.
Collapse is
Dire
done with the
winning
Surfer Wars
4-5
place on the tier 3
structures.
as well. Oh my god, another play from Nico, baby. 2 shots to Lion. Gets Cold Embrace. I am... Alright, that is quite a bit of healing. I am impressed. My mind is not blown, though. As Nico, baby, his first life will remain.
Oh, he was like a shark there.
Yeah, alright, let's see. Alright, that's quite a
Dire's
bit.
bottom tower got blown to
That's
bits.
pretty good.
That's a 1,500
Radiant's
heal.
top tower is
pretty
taking
good.
hits.
Imagine if he had that neutral, that, what's that one
Paladin
called?
sword?
Yeah, Paladin Sword.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
All right,
And
they
he's
get the
full HP
buyback out
again.
of Lion. Okay, so Team Spirit have found themselves in this position before against Liquid in the best of one deciding game that they had
That's
to
true.
get into this stage of the tournament.
Yeah.
And they managed to find their way out of it. But this time around, Alliance with that big hit, this is looking grimmer than it did against Liquid.
Oh, the instant hack.
He has the
The
disc.
shackle to follow. Yep, disc is there, but
Before the disc. Oh, that's good.
Blink.
He's right.
Yeah, that's going to be 100 seconds with no Eon disc now.
Nope.
All you got, I mean, that was very low commitment, too, from Alliance.
Yeah,
don't have
they
to
didn't
do
really use anything. So very good. So what are we looking at? Terrorblade has Manta Scotty. He's working on a Daedalus.
Oh.
As for Alliance's cores, Wraith King is hovering an overwhelming blink. Isn't Swift Blink usually better on Wraith King? I'm not
They did nerf it.
I guess
Not too
overwhelming blink is nice against Terrorblade in the
Jane.
extent that it helps kill the illusions a little bit. Lesh is approaching the Shiva's guard.
You also get the cancel for blink daggers potentially when you blink in to...
That's true.
Like if there's a lion blink or a cat blink.
Very true.
Yeah, good to see the overwhelming blink is actually being purchased because it was easily the worst of the 3. I think it still is, for the record, but it's not as bad anymore. And obviously for a hero like Wraith King, I've seen people buy it literally second item. I wouldn't condone that, but I've actually had a pro player. Was it you? That said second item, overwhelming blink on Wraith King isn't bad, or is that Jenkins?
That is something I would never say.
Okay, so
It's
Jenkins definitely did
probably
that.
Jenkins.
And she probably made a video that
And
got...
that was probably like a 50-50 about whether he was being honest or not.
That's true. He makes up a lot of stuff.
That sounds terrible.
As Limp now has a full Shiva's guard, so extremely tanky. And I mean, from Team Spirit's perspective, what is the goal here? Obviously to win the game, but how do you get to that goal? So,
Did Nico Baby just leave a Cloak of Flames behind?
yes.
There you go. Enjoy, guys.
All right.
Have a
and Lion.
free tier 3 item. He didn't realize that 2 items dropped in front of him.
Yeah.
Smoke, that is spotted by Alliance by that ward there.
Yeah. And we have Bob, Nico Baby, perfectly fine doing this on the high ground. There's the initiation. That's what trying to get the skewer off, but he's gonna get silenced and stunned to start things out. There's a right click from Guitar on the low ground with that Daedalus absolutely destroying him. Handskin gets blown up thanks to the finger of death.
Radiant's
They still
top
win.
tower
This is
hurting.
really
Alliance
bad.
needs to get out of dodge.
Need a curse here.
Coil shield there. Yeah, and wow, he actually dies to his own teammate. I thought the
Radiant's
Andis was
top
actually going to
tower
save him,
is
but not
bad
enough
shape.
time. The curse very strong, and now Team Spirit looks like they want to continue to fight along with Alliance, though. Nico Baby, there's the heal again. How much magic energy you have to go through that? Firestorm not quite up yet. There it goes. BKB finally popped by Nico Baby. He's going to apply all the pressure to the Underlord, but he's getting right clicked down by Guitar. And now the blink. So the BKB is down. Linda coming in from the low ground, trying to take out a Rubik. Looks like he'll be successful. And the question is, will Wraith King live through this? Buyback onto the Rubik. Team Spirit absolutely have to get more out of this.
Good spider legs too. It's going to escape that.
I think this is going to end the fight. That
Yep.
ends up being very bad for Team Spirit. Well,
Absolutely.
you get a buyback, I believe, out of Alliance, but at the same time, no meta now, and Roche is up.
I don't even think you got a buyback, did you?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think they used on Rubik, and that was it. So yeah, That curse is just so important. That was a really big win for Spirit. They got 2 kills and they were about to just run down the rest of the team. If FNG does not kill Puck with Terrorblade there, they lose at least another hero, maybe 2, maybe even all 3 to the upcoming Orb into Coil play. So very, very heads up from him using that Observer ward that they had there to find that angle. And I was surprised that Puck didn't see it coming, but obviously from an Observer standpoint, we'll see all that vision, right? But he has no idea that FNG is lining up for that one. That could be the play of the game.
Down, Queen.
I think that would have been a full comeback without that curse. They would have killed them and got this Roche. And instead of looking at 16k, we would have looked at 3 and an Aegis cheese the other way, plus Shard.
I'm surprised they gave the Shard to Wraith King. There's no diffusals or any, I mean, is he really having trouble getting off his ult? It does spawn a couple skeletons when he comes back, but that's kind of meh. And this going to be a huge kill for Alliance to get the Shackle into the split arc. And Yataro is donezo. 70 seconds on the deck, does have buyback. And again, this is not even that high of a commitment. You have the Serpent Wards that you place to get that kill, but you still have Diabolic Edict, which is honestly your main consistent
pretty sight right now.
Yep. Alliance are going to run down mid now. This will force a buyback from the Terrorblade. You can't give them 2 lanes here. I don't think so. Yep. And they will get those.
Wraith
King ends up using his overwhelming blink onto the barracks. We'll go for the range first. 40 seconds for Terrorblade.
Dire's bottom ranks
and looks like they'll concede the bottom tower at the very least.
Them Dire
Soul
buildings
Kuros is
are
next
tough
for
as
Nico,
nails
baby.
for now.
I mean, his farm has been
Rough day for Dire's bottom ranks.
despite not getting off to the best start.
The farm
Tokyo already cutting mid. So maybe they only get 1 lane. They have no creeps in base anymore, I believe.
Won't last much longer.
Yeah, let's see how much damage they can do before that kicks in, and yeah, that's about it. Although Diabolic Edict is pretty. If this was a level 25 Diabolic Edict,
courier
they could 100%. Okay, they might get it anyway. Actually,
Dire's mid
That's
tower
enough.
could use a little
Finally getting
help.
healed up a bit. Yeah, that 25 talent for Lesh is pretty bonkers. I mean, not that it matters, but you know I love talking about shards, Cinderin. Why Wraith King? I mean, Leshrax's
I don't know.
scene has been quite good. Obviously, they're going high. I mean, even for high ground offense, I think it's good.
I would agree that. I mean, you're playing against Lion Mana Drain. Like, is that a primary concern?
Not really.
I would have liked to see it go to Lesh, personally. I think. Even the Magnus, the Horn Toss is pretty nice. Shaman's Shard is also good.
Yeah, what is Shaman's Shard?
It spawns Serpent Words and gives it
that one's awesome.
more cast range, which is really good on that spell.
Regeneration.
I think literally every shard is better other than Wraith King on their team.
I'm pretty sure we agree to disagree with Alliance's choice on that, but
I mean, when you're
still
the
on a
position
great
one,
position.
you get to do whatever you want, I think, right? Especially if you don't have a win yet.
We have a lot of people watching who play this game casually. Do not tell them that that is how it works. That is not how it works.
It's definitely how it works.
If you're a position 5, you get to choose whatever you want.
Dire's mid towers having
Keep dreaming, Cinder, and Lance
difficulties.
as that Diabolic Edict with that
Radiant's
Serpent Ward
bottom
from
tower
Hanskin.
seems
It's
that
going to be
it
2
is
at the very
Radiant's
least, and
bottom
Team
tower.
Spirit. Yeah, they
Dire's
defend
top
this. There's the
tower,
Dagon with
you know
the
the
Veil
drill.
of Discord, but Toronto Tokyo, it's just not enough damage to kill off these supports. I mean, they're just so much more
The
far right
Dire
now.
might want
20k
to
net
mine
worth lead
the
for
top
Alliance.
tower. Dire's top tower's
Got that top tier
gone.
2. It's a good looking graph. It's just basically had no bumps in the road since it went up. A little one there. For the most part, linear growth the whole way.
That's right. The baby with the spider legs.
Flying
is dead. Oh, goodness, Cinderin. Living in the right down the Metamorphosis. Even with that Shivas, he's still taking a lot of damage. That's a lot of armor, but the Soul Gear finally comes online for Nico, baby. And look at the heal on the left. Are you kidding me? There's the RP into the skewer. Earth to follow. And this should be GG. And we're going, as expected, in Team Spirit fashion,
Dire's
to a
mid
game
ranks ain't
3.
doing so
Now,
hot.
if this was a true Team
Radiant
Spirit series,
The series would end.
the third game would not be played for whatever reason, and both teams would advance.
That could still happen. You never know.
Yeah, maybe they
Not
can find.
impossible.
If there's any team in this tournament that finds a way of getting a draw in a best of 3, it's them.
That's true.
But yeah, good to see Alliance bounce back. Obviously, it's been a 3 relatively tough games they had. The 2 games against PSG LGD kind of got rolled in the second game. This time around, not off to a hot start, but they're showing signs of life. Based on this game, probably have a good chance in game number 3. And I'm just really curious to see how the draft goes. I feel like the hero of the game here by far was Winter Wyvern. Like FNG had one key play after the other with Cold Embrace, with Curse. Really, that was the one problem that Spirit just did not solve in this game.